Alan Carr is the best man for the job. It's far easier to accept something if the person teaching you has been where you are now. In that case, Alan Carr is the best person to help you quit smoking for good. Not only is he a best-selling author of many Easy Way books, but he was also a smoking addict, smoking up to 100 per day. Rather than focusing on willpower, Carr found that changing his mindset and ridding himself of the fear of quitting helped him to quit almost instantly. Not only that, but his life has changed significantly since he extinguished that last cigarette. The Easy Way doesn't focus on willpower, it focuses on changing your mindset and reducing the fear of quitting. Carr now runs Easy Way clinics all around the world, helping people just like you to overcome the smoking habit. He also has a 90% success rate, so you know that when you follow his advice, you're going to see results. When you go to see the doctor and ask for help with quitting, most will focus on scaring you with the health risks. However, for most smokers that won't work. They simply bury their head in the sand and ignore the risks. The Easy Way doesn't focus on fear tactics, instead it focuses on the positives of quitting, and frees you from what you falsely think is holding you back. Scare tactics don't work on smoking addicts. Instead, you need to address the addiction and understand what lies beneath. Put simply, it takes away the desire to smoke, and when you do that, you'll find the rest very easy indeed, no willpower required. Did you know? Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking has sold over 15 million copies worldwide. The number one rule: read the book before you stop. You might think that the decision to stop smoking should be followed by rapid and instant action. You might think that once you decide you're going to stop, you should just do it. Carr advises against that. Instead, Carr advises that you read the book cover to cover and then stop. If you attempt to quit beforehand, you will not benefit from the advice in the book and you will not understand the message, i.e. that you need to rid yourself of the brainwashing you have subjected yourself to over time. If you quit beforehand, you won't be ready. Read the book entirely before you attempt to quit smoking. Carr suggests reading the book, choosing the time you're going to stop, and then going for it. Before that, you need to ask yourself what you gain from smoking. In essence, you gain absolutely nothing and you lose a lot. Smoking does nothing for you at all. It ruins your health, it makes you a social outcast, and it takes away all your money. Once you begin, you're trapped. What you need to do in order to quit successfully is come to terms with the fact that smoking brings zero benefit to your life. Smoking brings no benefit to your life, but it takes away a lot of the value. Smoking is a drug addiction. As a smoker, the bottom line is that you are a drug addict. You are addicted to nicotine, a compound contained with every cigarette. You become addicted to nicotine faster than any other drug, and it can take only one cigarette to become completely addicted. Smokers are drug addicts. They are addicted to nicotine. Smokers know deep down that they don't need to smoke, but the nicotine is in control, causing a huge amount of brainwashing. No smoker can actually tell you why they smoke. They might tell you that it helps them to relax or that it helps with stress, but smoking doesn't do either of those things. It's all a fallacy and something which has been fabricated to make smokers feel better about their addiction. Every puff on a cigarette delivers, via the lungs to the brain, a small dose of nicotine that acts more rapidly than a dose of heroin the addict injects into his veins. Alan Carr. Nicotine is a fast-acting drug and levels within the bloodstream reduce quickly to around half the amount in just half an hour. This prompts the smoker to smoke another cigarette to get another hit. On average, most people smoke around 20 per day. When withdrawing from nicotine, there are no physical pains, however most notice an agitated or restless feeling over a short amount of time. Nicotine is the most addictive drug known to man. The main reason that most people struggle to give up is because they've brainwashed themselves into thinking that they're giving up something pleasurable, something they need. That's not the truth. Smoking isn't a genuine pleasure and it's not a crutch. When you smoke, you aren't gaining anything. It's not the same as when you're hungry and you eat food to satisfy yourself, because there's no benefit from that cigarette. Most people assume smoking is a habit, but it's not. Smoking is a drug addiction and understanding that gives you the strength to quit. Most people struggle to quit because they think they're giving up something pleasurable, or something of benefit. There is no benefit or pleasure from smoking, you are simply addicted. There is no sacrifice when giving up smoking. It's vital that before you stop smoking, you question what you are giving up. Carr has already reiterated that when you smoke, you aren't benefiting yourself in any way. Smoking doesn't relieve boredom, it doesn't help with stress, it doesn't make you more confident. It's all an illusion that you have brainwashed yourself into believing. You are a slave to smoking. Smokers are brainwashed into believing that smoking is something beneficial or enjoyable. Stamping out the brainwashing clears the way to quitting. The hardest part about quitting is the fear beforehand. You're scared that if you stop, you're going to have something missing from your life, that you're sacrificing something. However, there is no sacrifice here. Smoking doesn't make anything better, you've just tricked yourself into thinking it does. Many people worry that if they stop smoking they'll be a slave to stress or they'll struggle in social situations. That's not the truth. When you quit smoking, you'll be free of those worries because the fear no longer controls you. The psychological gains from quitting are huge. When you quit smoking, you are no longer a slave to cigarettes. You are free. Many people spend a huge amount of money every single year on smoking and never question it. Why? Because they've brainwashed themselves into thinking that it's worthwhile. Yet, when they think about buying a large household appliance that costs less than smoking does over a year, they and ah about it for many weeks. It makes no sense when you break it down, but it's simply because you've brainwashed yourself into believing that smoking is worthwhile and that without it, you'll be missing something. Did you know? The average smoker spends $22,920 over a 10-year period when smoking one pack per day. Don't bury your head in the sand when it comes to health risks. It's very hard to avoid the association. There is no sacrifice when giving up smoking. It's vital that before you stop smoking, you question what you are giving up. Carr has already reiterated that when you smoke, you aren't benefiting yourself in any way. Smoking doesn't relieve boredom, it doesn't help with stress, it doesn't make you more confident. It's all an illusion that you have brainwashed yourself into believing. You are a slave to smoking. Smokers are brainwashed into believing that smoking is something beneficial or enjoyable. Stamping out the brainwashing clears the way to quitting. The hardest part about quitting is the fear beforehand. You're scared that if you stop, you're going to have something missing from your life, that you're sacrificing something. However, there is no sacrifice here. Smoking doesn't make anything better, you've just tricked yourself into thinking it does. Many people worry that if they stop smoking they'll be a slave to stress or they'll struggle in social situations. That's not the truth. When you quit smoking, you'll be free of those worries because the fear no longer controls you. The psychological gains from quitting are huge. When you quit smoking, you are no longer a slave to cigarettes. You are free. Many people spend a huge amount of money every single year on smoking and never question it. Why? Because they've brainwashed themselves into thinking that it's worthwhile. Yet, when they think about buying a large household appliance that costs less than smoking does over a year, they and ah about it for many weeks. It makes no sense when you break it down, but it's simply because you've brainwashed yourself into believing that smoking is worthwhile and that without it, you'll be missing something. Did you know? The average smoker spends $22,920 over a 10-year period when smoking one pack per day. Don't bury your head in the sand when it comes to health risks. It's very hard to avoid the associated health risks of smoking, yet countless people ignore them and carry on regardless. Again, you've brainwashed yourself into thinking that it doesn't apply to you, that you're not going to die as a result of your smoking addiction. You bury your head in the sand and ignore all the risks. Smoking is the leading causing of death worldwide, with around 8 million people per year dying from smoking-related illnesses. If you look at the shock tactics used in advertising, such as the images on cigarette packets or the commercials you see on TV, it's really only non-smokers that notice them. Smokers avoid looking because they don't want to believe what they're seeing. It's a common occurrence to hear about someone's uncle who smoked until they were 90 years of age and never had a health problem, yet they conveniently forget the countless other people who died because of smoking-associated illnesses. Smokers bury their heads in the sand when it comes to health risks, believing that it just won't happen to them. Carr gives the example of being careful when you cross the road. You go to a lot of effort to avoid being hit by a bus on a busy street, but you put yourself in the firing line when it comes to the health issues that smoking has been proven to cause. Can you possibly conceive of anyone being stupid enough to put their mouth on an exhaust pipe and deliberately inhale those fumes into their lungs? That's what smokers effectively do. Alan Carr. The willpower method is the hardest and most unsuccessful way to quit. When someone decides they're going to stop smoking, they usually try the willpower method. However, this is without a doubt the hardest way and the method which is going to lead you into a life of mystery because you'll always believe that you gave up something you genuinely enjoyed. Of course, the truth is that you didn't genuinely enjoy it, you were simply addicted and brainwashed into thinking that way. Society simply accepts that smoking is very hard to do. That you have to stop or cut down and then brave it out until the effects reduce to a level you can cope with. Why make yourself miserable like that? Why allow yourself to believe that you're making some kind of sacrifice? The willpower method sets you up for failure or mystery from the start. Sure, some people do manage to quit, but there are far more false starts than successes. Even those who do succeed often live the rest of their lives thinking they're missing out on something. It's far more effective to understand that as a smoker, you are addicted. The drug you are addicted to causes you to think in a way which isn't accurate. It causes you to be ignorant of the facts when it comes to smoking. You aren't giving up anything of value, you're actually giving up something which simply ruins your life on many different levels. When you do this, you take away the desire to smoke and the whole situation becomes easier. Did you know? Many smokers using the willpower method attempt to quit around 30 times before they actually succeed. Cutting down is a huge mistake. You might be tempted to cut down on your smoking as a stepping stone towards quitting completely. Carr does not recommend this. By quitting, you're half in and half out, and you still believe that smoking is giving you some amount of benefit. Avoid cutting down as a stepping stone towards quitting. Many smokers who are trying to quit and use the cutting down method wish their days away, waiting until the time they can have another cigarette and feel better. As Carr repeats several times throughout the book, it's not the addiction that's the biggest problem here, it's the brainwashing that the addiction causes. When you cut down, you're still partaking in that brainwashing because you're telling yourself that you're giving up something you actually enjoy. It's all an illusion, and as a result, cutting down is simply a way of torturing yourself. It isn't the addiction to nicotine that is the biggest problem, it's the brainwashing that accompanies it. Choose the right time to quit. Carr suggests that you don't give up smoking until you've read the book completely and understand the concept and rules. However, he also suggests that you choose an ideal time. Look at your schedule over the coming weeks and try to identify any situation which may cause a problem, e.g. a trigger. This could be an upcoming vacation or a social event. Choose a time which is going to give you the best chance of success. Choose the best time to quit. Identify your triggers and look at your diary to choose a time when they will be less of a problem. It's a good idea to think about the times when you reach for a cigarette almost instinctively. This could be when you're bored, when you're stressed, or when you're feeling anxious. When you identify these triggers, you can identify the right time to quit, and then you just do it. No willpower needed because your new mindset will get you through. However, Carr strongly advises that you don't go down the just one cigarette route. That's how you became addicted in the first place. When you decide to quit, that's it, no more cigarettes. Heroin kills a few hundred people a year in the UK. Nicotine kills over 100,000 a year and 4 million a year worldwide. It's already killed more people on this planet than all the wars of history combined. Alan Carr. The instructions are easy, just follow the rules. Alan Carr's easy way is literally that, easy. The reason you assume it's going to be hard is because that's what society wants you to believe. However, when you break down the mindset of a smoker and work to reverse it, you'll find that you don't need willpower to quit. All you need to do is follow the rules. Decide that you're going to quit smoking, and be happy about your decision. Quitting consists of 2 steps. Decide you're going to quit and then be happy about it. For a few weeks after you quit, you may notice withdrawal, but this is completely normal. It's likely that you'll feel like you need to do something with your hands or you feel restless. A good way to overcome this is to identify the times when you would normally reach for a cigarette and then work to avoid them or do something with your hands at the time. Nicotine withdrawal may occur for a couple of weeks after you stop, but understanding your triggers and avoiding them can help to reduce the effects. After a few weeks, the craving for nicotine subsides, but the brainwashing effects may linger. This is something you need to concentrate on. Unpicking the brainwashing effects and challenging them will make the whole process far easier and more successful. Carr also suggests that you avoid nicotine substitutes, such as patches. These are a big mistake because it means you're never free of the drug. It's also a bad idea to replace smoking with something else, such as overeating or drinking. You're aiming to bring benefit into your life, not replace it with something else. Avoid using nicotine substitutes, such as patches. It's best to focus on unpicking the brainwashing instead. Conclusion. Many people find it hard to stop smoking simply because they believe they're giving up something that benefits them in some way. The truth is that smoking has no benefit to anyone, it's simply an addiction that manages to brainwash at the same time. Alan Carr's easy way to stop smoking teaches you that by understanding what smoking really is, you can overcome the fear of quitting and therefore successfully rid yourself for good. Try this. Ask yourself why you smoke. What do you believe it brings to your life? When do you find yourself smoking the most? Is it when you're stressed, when you need to relax, etc.? Identify the best time for you to stop smoking, taking into account any upcoming events which could derail your efforts.